My closest roommate suddenly differentiated into an enigma. He bit into the gland at my neck, his eyes filled with obsession. "Lincoln, you smell incredible. I want you to have my child." I slapped Weston hard, right on the restless part of him pressed against my thigh. I roared in anger. "Look closely, I'm an alpha. I'm not going to be the one on the bottom." Weston paused in thought. Then he grabbed my waist and flipped our positions. He pressed down on my shoulders with force. A flash of white light streaked across my vision. Weston stared at my unfocused eyes, his movements rough. "You're on top," he said, "but I'm inside." "Weston, hand me the towel, the door's not shut." A moment later, a long, slender hand slipped through the crack. "Don't make this a habit. Come on, what's wrong with asking a buddy for a hand?" I swung the door open, raised my brows at him. "I won't let you run errands for nothing. Here, consider it a reward." I puffed out my chest, proud of its solid 115 centimeters. Big, right? All those little Omegas at the academy drool over this but never get to touch it. "You're my best friend, so I'll let you squeeze for free." Before Weston could react, I grabbed his hand and pressed it to my chest. Then I flexed, making the muscle ripple under his palm. Well, my year of training's paid off, hasn't it? Weston was half a head taller than me. Steam filled the bathroom, blurring his face from view. All I could hear was his usually steady, magnetic voice, slightly husky now. "Not bad." Smirking with pride, I tugged his hand further down. "That's not all. My six-pack's now an 8-pack, and my thighs got a lot stronger too. Go on, feel for yourself." I'd trained for a whole year, just waiting for this day to show off. But right as I pushed his hand lower, Weston suddenly yanked it back with force. "No time to mess around with you. I still haven't finished the assignment the professor gave." With that, he spun on his heel. The door slammed shut with a bang. Left clutching the towel, I felt completely lost. The semester had only just started. We didn't even know all our professors' names yet. What assignment? After a while, it hit me. Weston's lean frame, his sharp, studious vibe. Even though he was also an alpha, standing next to my built physique must have made him envious. As his best friend, I decided I'd help him out. So that night, after lights out, I crept onto his bed. "Lincoln, who told you to get up here?" Weston's voice was startled, low and rough, tinged with an edge of labored breathing. A wave of strong lime-scented pheromones washed over me, making my chest tighten. As an S-rank alpha, he should have been able to keep his pheromones completely in check. Unless he was sick, or in a vulnerable cycle. "You okay?" I asked, worried. I quickly switched on my phone flashlight. "Don't turn it on." Too late. The beam lit the entire bed like daylight. Weston was leaning against the headboard, his right hand lifted to block the glare. His phone screen instantly went dark, but not before my sharp eyes caught what was on it, a photo of someone. I crawled closer, flicked a finger against Weston's chest as he sat there frozen. Grinning, I teased. "With pheromones this thick, I thought you were sick. Didn't expect you were just doing a little handiwork." Weston yanked the blanket up to cover his lower body. "Get down. We're brothers, aren't we? No need to be shy, keep going." I nudged him with my elbow. "So, whose photo was that? Which teacher? Tell me so I can steer clear. You've been at it so long without getting anywhere. Guess that teacher isn't much good." Weston's face went dark. His pale earlobes flushed a deep red. Eyes shut, he snapped, equal parts embarrassed and angry. "Lincoln, you're crossing the line." I just laughed, brushing it off. "Come on, we're brothers. What's wrong with a little teasing? We've been in school 2 years, and every time I asked you to hit the showers with me, you refused. This is the first time I've actually seen it." Thinking back to what I'd glimpsed just now, I couldn't help but add sincerely, "It's bigger than mine. You really hide your strength well. Any Omega with you would be ridiculously lucky." Normally, Weston was all icy composure. Whenever I cracked a dirty joke, he'd glare at me in outrage, tell me to shut up. But tonight, out of nowhere, he muttered, "You really think so? See? No alpha dislikes being told he's good." I nodded, patting the heated tent beneath the blanket. Joked, "If I were an Omega, I'd definitely want you to make me feel good." Weston arched a sharp brow. "Really?" I said it without hesitation, of course. The words had barely left my mouth when his lime pheromones surged. Like a storm, they flooded every corner of the dorm. "You're in your vulnerable cycle," I blurted. I turned to climb down the bed and grab an inhibitor, but Weston suddenly moved. He grabbed my ankle and yanked me back. In an instant, he was on top of me. "Lincoln," his voice rough, trembling with desire. "You smell so good." Weston tugged my pajamas open. He buried his face against the back of my neck, inhaling softly. I didn't sense anything wrong. On the contrary, I wore a smug grin. "Of course, My pheromones are rare, honey-scented. Out of sight, his Adam's apple bobbed. In his black eyes, desire spread inch by inch. I want to bite. What? I didn't catch it. Weston wasn't as bulky as me, but at a solid 6'3", his weight pressed me down so hard I could barely breathe. And now, burning hot from his vulnerable cycle, his whole body felt feverish. He was hard, pressing against my lower back like a wooden beam. The heat made me shift uncomfortably. Weston, get up, I'll grab you an inhibitor. He didn't move. His fingertips slid back and forth across the nape of my neck. His heavy breathing brushed past my ear, and my own gland began to throb and swell with heat. Threads of honey-scented pheromones slipped out of me, tangling in the air with his line. Together they spiked sharply. By the time I realized something was wrong, it was too late. Sharp canines sank into the back of my neck. A flood of lime pheromones surged into me. Pain pricked my eyes with tears. My toes curled tight. I clawed at the sheets, trying to wriggle free, but Weston's core strength pinned me down. His long fingers forced their way into mine, locking me flat against the bed. His pheromones tore through my system, scattering wildly. My gland grew hotter. My eyes blurred with mist, and my limbs weakened until I felt like an omega in heat. Weston, stop. I'm an alpha. Your brother, not someone you can mark as if I were an omega. Something in my words must have struck him. In a sudden movement, he yanked down my pajama pants. Half delirious, he muttered, Lincoln, you smell so good. I want you to have my child. It was just his vulnerable cycle, so why was he acting like this? I thrashed against him, but the moment I felt the sheer size of him, I froze, scalp tingling. Get a grip, I'm an alpha. I can't get pregnant. Even drowning in desire, he still carried the habit of a top student, always ready with an answer. His husky voice slid against my ear, sinful as hell. Alphas have reproductive chambers too, deep enough, if forced open, they can conceive. The next morning, I woke up in the city hospital. Our friend Carter let out a sigh of relief, handing me a glass of water. Relax. He didn't do you in. You just passed out from the high concentration of pheromones. I was still giddy over the fact my gland hadn't been destroyed, when Carter dropped a bomb. But the dorm's supervisor showed up a little late. You've already been temporarily marked. Over the next 3 months, you'll go into heat at random times. My voice cracked from shouting. I'm a strong alpha. I can't be marked, and I definitely can't go into heat. Carter tapped the back of my neck. I yelped in pain. Weston was pushed to the edge last night. He differentiated into an enigma, and he's S rank. The strongest classification in the ABO system, able to mark anyone. Damn, that was insane. I was jealous already, but Carter had no tact. He kept poking. I heard when S-rank pheromones hit the gland, it feels incredible, even, head spinning. True? I shot him a glare. If you're that curious, go let an alpha bite you. Carter wrinkled his nose. No thanks, I hate pain. I'll just wait for you to experience it and tell me. I flicked his forehead. Shipping people together only messes things up. Weston and I are pure brothers. That'll never change. Carter snickered under his breath, mumbling something about big-chested guys being born to be moms, brothers ending up as wives. It was too quiet, I didn't catch it. After he left, I headed to the next ward to see Weston. The nurse said his out-of-control pheromones had been drained completely. As long as he wasn't pushed again, he wouldn't fall into another cycle suddenly. Sorry for scaring you last night. Does it still hurt? Weston leaned against the headboard, guilt in his tone. A metallic muzzle covered his jaw, glinting faintly. He looked pale and frail, and my chest tightened at the sight. I slapped my chest proudly. It's nothing. I'm a tough alpha. Even if my gland got chewed up, I wouldn't feel a thing. Weston let out a faint smile. That's good. To make it up to you, let me treat you to dinner. But before we could even order at the mall, our advisor called us back to school, said something about enigmas and alphas not being allowed to live together. I scoffed, thinking it was overkill. The doctor gave us a year's worth of inhibitors. What could possibly happen? But fate had its way. For the sake of graduation, I had no choice but to part ways with my best friend. The other 2 roommates were off traveling, not due back until next week, so I was the only one helping Weston move. His Enigma dorm was like a palace compared to our Alpha pit. Kitchen, bathtub, even a private gym. I couldn't help but drool a little. Weston handed me a chilled lime drink. If you like it, you're welcome to visit anytime. My eyes lit up, then dimmed. Better not. The doctor said I might go into heat anytime these 3 months. If I lost control and marked you, that'd be trouble. Weston's brows twitched. I'm an enigma. I know, I said calmly, but I'm stronger. If another accident like last night happened, I'd end up pinning you and marking you instead. To prove it, I lifted my shirt, flashing my rock-solid 8-pack. His lips pressed into a thin line. Out of nowhere, he asked, "What did you score in high school biology?" I tilted my chin, proud. "Ha, 0. Rural kids get one subject waived." Smart as I am, I didn't hesitate to ditch biology. Weston stared at my grin, falling into rare silence. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "An alpha can't mark an enigma, so if you come to my dorm, you're perfectly safe." "That's great." I immediately swiped a spare key. "Best friends should always hang out. I'll come tomorrow night. Big Alpha's gonna train with you." His lips curved faintly. "Alright, but plans never keep up with change. Our club had a last-minute dinner to organize next month's volunteer event. I forgot to tell Weston. So when his video call came through, I was in the restroom rinsing my mouth. "Lincoln, I bought your favorite mantis shrimp. When will you?" His voice cut off. His face appeared on my screen, usually calm but now trembling slightly. "Lincoln, are you?" At the same time, a worried voice came from outside the stall. "Riker, you okay? Spit it out, don't swallow it. I've got plenty more, all saved for you." That ultra-spicy crayfish lived up to its name. One bite of chili had my cheeks burning, eyes brimming with tears, and chugging yogurt did nothing. I wiped the yogurt from my mouth, rasping, "I can still fight another 300 rounds of shrimp." Lowering my head to answer Weston, I saw his face darken before he hung up without a word. 9. Lobster barbecue followed by a spicy water bomb. That night, I practically welded myself to the toilet. It wasn't until the next afternoon that I finally managed to sit up, weak and exhausted. Thinking back on flaking Weston the night before, I felt a pang of guilt. So I bought a cake and went to apologize. When I opened the door, I found him sitting gloomily among a sea of textbooks. Startled, I quickly grabbed him up. "What's wrong? Someone raided your base in the game?" Weston's dark eyes locked on my lips. He let out a short, sharp exhale. "What are you doing here?" Clearly, he was angry. Before I could even start soothing him, he sniffed at my nose and furrowed his brows. Then, dragging me along, he shoved me into the bathroom. "You stink. Don't come out until you're clean." How could this be? Riker's pheromones smelled like irises, sweet and fragrant. Even if I had the right, brotherly loyalty came first, so I obediently washed from head to toe. 15 minutes later, I emerged wearing Weston's clothes. Finally, he relaxed, stretching his eyebrows in satisfaction. While we ate cake, he casually asked, "Are you seeing someone?" "Nope." "Then last night?" "Oh, just playing around with a junior." Weston's hand holding the fork went white. He looked at me, his expression hard to read. His Adam's apple moved, words caught in his throat. After a long pause, he finally asked with difficulty, "You ate his?" I quickly nodded. Yeah, Riker was enthusiastic. He gave me so many shrimp I could barely fit them all in my mouth. Recalling my miserable bathroom ordeal from last night, I sighed. "You have no idea, this morning, my stomach hurt, my gut hurt, and my backside was in total rebellion." Bang! The glass in Weston's hand shattered. Startled, I pried his hand open to check him over. All good, no injuries. But, a strong wave of lime-scented pheromones suddenly surged from Weston, wrapping me tightly. It wasn't the usual fresh, pleasant scent. Instead, it carried a hint of pressure and tanginess. "Wasn't your out-of-control pheromone already drained? How's it full again in just 2 days?" 10. Feeling the heat swelling at the back of my neck, I hurried to grab an inhibitor. One shot later, the internal fire finally faded. Weston calmed down too. Leaning back in his chair, he pinched his brow, long fingers twisting in thought. His expression was dark, mixed with a hint of frustration. As a considerate best friend, I suggested, "Relying on inhibitors isn't a real solution. Too many force suppressions can affect how your body reacts later. Why not borrow some pheromones from an omega?" After a pause, I added, "An alpha could work too." Weston was notorious for avoiding omegas. Even if a soft, fragrant omega threw themselves at him, he could knock them out and call an ambulance without batting an eye. For 2 whole years, I'd been the only one around him. Had I not seen him comforting Nyo-Nyo a few nights ago, I might have thought he was incapable. Hearing my suggestion, Weston finally opened his eyes. His deep black gaze fixed on me, unblinking. "I do like an alpha." "Damn, still your best friend, and you've got a crush. Why didn't you say anything?" "He's a straight alpha. Doesn't seem open to an alpha-alpha relationship." I slapped my thigh and sighed. "For a top student like you, how can your brain be such a blockhead? You're an enigma now, able to handle any ABO type. Looks, grades, pheromones, all top tier. Even a few clever moves with handsome guys, and no alpha could resist." Weston's ear tips tinged pink. "Really?" I nodded. "Guaranteed." I threw my hands up and shared with him the full playbook. Alphas are proud. As long as they don't reject your touch, forceful pursuit is 100 times more effective than subtle moves. Weston looked at me, nodding meaningfully. For some reason, on the walk back to the dorm, the thought of my best friend possibly ending up with another alpha made my chest ache. 11. Luckily, the frustration didn't last long. Weston still brought me breakfast every morning and sternly tutored me in advanced math at night. The difference? He'd swapped his usual white shirt and black pants for a black deep V shirt with rolled sleeves, glasses perched on his sharp nose, and perfectly styled hair. Long lashes lifted, his cold, detached gaze swept the room, sending a few omegas into squeals. From icy school heartthrob to sexy male god, what happened to him? Noble and cold, the way he looks at guys makes my scalp tingle. I'm melting. So hot. I want him. Weston calmly sat in the first row, leaning close to explain a problem in my ear. I didn't catch a single word. All I saw was his delicate collarbone and the faint outline of his chest. Seeing him flaunt like that made me slightly resentful. After 2 years of living and eating together, I'd hardly seen his chest. Why should his crush get more privileges than me? What's wrong? Sulking? Nothing. I irritably rubbed my hair. You dress so tempting. Several alphas in class have sent courting pheromones. Why hasn't that alpha of yours reacted? I was shocked at the sourness in my own voice. Looking up, I caught Weston's fleeting, amused gaze. He's not smelly, he said, straightening his expression. His long fingers tapped lightly on my thigh. Anne, I think I've caught his interest. That night, I went to the gym outside of campus, punching hard. I drenched in sweat and tore 2 punching bags. But Weston's determined tone stayed in my head, relentless. After showering, I returned to the dorm, mood gloomy. I missed curfew and had to climb the wall to get in. Opening the door, I froze. 12. Jace sat boldly in the gaming chair, panting like he didn't know up from down. Between his spread legs, a tuft of hair poked out. Startled, Atlas on the floor spat out a sausage, blushed, and stood, toes curling. I dropped my gym bag in shock. You're both alphas. How can you? Jace sipped up and stood beside Atlas. Clearing his throat, he said, well, you're from a small town, so you might not know. Around here, brothers help each other like this. Atlas rubbed his nose and agreed. Yeah, all brothers. Biting a little is nothing. I confessed. I caught Jace and Atlas doing that. Atlas said city brothers do this. Weston immediately nodded. Yes, exactly. He's right. It's the most effective way for brothers to bond. Especially during vulnerable cycles, marking each other eases the pain. I'd never heard Weston speak so much at once. Shocked, and a little lonely, I muttered. Got it. I was going to help you next time you were vulnerable, but since you're chasing your alpha crush, I guess you don't need me anymore. A hammer emoji accompanied his message. I stared at the screen, mood dark. Weston was clearly warning me not to interfere with his pursuit, or the hammer was coming for me. 13. I felt a little down, but I obeyed. For half a month straight, I gritted my teeth and refused Weston's invitations to go to the single dorm for workouts or baths. That day was the marathon. Riker and I happened to be assigned to volunteer at the same station. Wanna hit karaoke together tonight? He asked. I looked down, helpless, as he pinched my chest muscles, clearly having fun. You're usually wary of others. Why are you so relaxed around me? That's natural, I'm good at reading people. Even if you're an alpha, a big-chested alpha should be patted and teased. What do you mean? Riker started to explain. Suddenly, a pair of strong hands grabbed my arms and pulled me backward. I stumbled and landed against a wide, warm chest. Weston, what are you doing here? Weston's jaw was tense, his aura cold enough to intimidate. He didn't speak. He wrinkled his nose, swiftly removed my jacket, and tossed it into the trash. Come with me. No, the volunteer shift isn't over yet. I glanced at Riker, silently asking him to say something to hold Weston off. He just grinned lewdly, apparently thrilled by something, stomping his feet. On the way back to the single dorm, no matter how I tried to make conversation, Weston ignored me. The tension was thick when Atlas walked toward us. His gaze swept over my wrist, red from Weston's grip. He sniffed lightly and asked, Lincoln, did you get physical with that Omega? Yeah. Anything wrong? Atlas pulled a small box from his pocket and dropped it into Weston's. Good luck. He shot me a solemn glance and left quickly. 14. I had never seen Weston lose control like this. He pinned me in the bathtub and roughly stripped off all my clothes. Then he tossed me a bottle of lime-scented body wash. Clean yourself. I felt a little wronged. I'm not dirty. What are you so annoyed about? Weston ignored me. He got to work, lathering me with foam, scrubbing my chest muscles with extra force. Soon, they were red and sore, nearly raw. I winced in pain and pushed him away. Enough. If you think I'm beneath you because I'm from the countryside, then don't call me your brother. Weston bumped against the sink with a grunt. You've been avoiding me because of that Omega. Do you like him? Last time, it was iris-scented too. Were you with him that night? I wasn't in the mood to answer. I rinsed off casually, put on a t-shirt and tried to leave. Weston suddenly leaned toward me. I caught him easily, and all my complaints melted at the heat radiating from him. The lime scent exploded at my nose. My glands began to heat up. What triggered you this time? Why do you get sensitive so often? I helped him onto the bed, about to grab an inhibitor, when a hand suddenly snatched me, pulling me onto him. 15. Weston's eyes were rimmed red, his expression shattered, voice choked. He looked painfully vulnerable. Paired with his handsome face, the effect was devastating. My irritation vanished instantly, and I softened. What's wrong? I asked. Weston rubbed the back of my neck, his black eyes heavy. Do you not like that I split into Enigma? Ah. Seeing me silent, the light in his eyes dimmed. He let go of my neck, forcing a bitter smile. Go ahead. Find that Omega. It's just sensitivity. A few extra doses of inhibitor, no big deal. Don't worry, worst case, temporary side effects. But you won't die. The doctor had indeed warned Weston at discharge. The Enigma's glands are too powerful. Long-term inhibitor use may disrupt pheromones. The best solution is to find a partner to mark with. I hovered over Weston, taking in his restrained expression. He was supposed to be the composed, aloof genius, not this worn-down, pheromone-tormented version. Recalling Atlas's words, I gritted my teeth and removed the barrier patch from my neck. Honey scent seeped out, almost instantly overtaken by lime. I raised my glands to Weston's mouth. Come on, take it. 16. It hurt. Damn, it hurt. A temporary mark, and my legs felt weak, feet unsteady. And yet it still wasn't enough. I feel uncomfortable. Weston arched his back. The hot, fiery Omega straightened his posture, greeting me boldly. I flushed immediately, heart pounding, unsure how to react. Seeing me quiet, Weston lowered his lashes. His lust-tinged eyes grew moist, like a small, abandoned dog. Fine. I wasn't good enough to be your best friend. I envy Jace and Atlas. But it's okay. If you don't want to help me, I won't blame you. At most, I'll hold it in until it explodes. Medical tech is advanced. It can be fixed. This pain is bearable. Damn it. I grabbed Weston's jaw, hard. Shut up. No one questions my loyalty to my best friend, not even you. If Atlas, simple-minded but strong, can do it, I can do it better. I set my mind, buried my head, completely missing the brief flash of pride in Weston's eyes. Exhausted, my jaw and wrists aching. But 2 hours later, the rampant pheromones and high heat were finally under control. 17. The Enigma's sensitivity period lasted a long time. Since I had committed to helping, I couldn't quit halfway. After getting leave from the counselor, I stayed in my dorm for 2 straight weeks. But I clearly underestimated the Enigma's endurance and frequency. 2 days later, my hands shook so badly that even holding chopsticks was a struggle. Smart as I am, I immediately went online to ask. Best friend in sensitivity period, hands and mouth exhausted, any solutions? Urgent. Helpful netizens responded almost instantly. It's a best friend, right? Easy. Just let him in and, you know. I flushed. That doesn't seem right. EA is different. One replied, TSK, clearly fake brotherhood. You won't even let him warm you up, yet preach mutual support. Please. Besides, you're an alpha. You won't get pregnant. Letting your best friend help, what's the problem? Stop being so dramatic. That actually made some sense. I put my phone down and slowly crawled into bed. Weston immediately dimmed his screen and, in a hoarse voice, asked, Did you take throat lozenges? Still hurting? It was 11 at night. The dorm was dark except for the tiny night lamp by the bed. Weston's shirt hung loosely, warm yellow light caught his eyes, adding a subtle glimmer. The lime scent rolled toward me like a tide, almost like a secret invitation. Even after 1 dose of inhibitor, my glands still burned. Swallowing nervously, I quickly removed my shorts. Maybe you should come in. My voice was barely audible, my heart racing. Weston looked momentarily confused. Then his brows lifted, tone uncertain. Are you sure? Blushing, I explained. I can't use my hands anymore. I'm close to tendinitis. Weston's expression was strange, like he was trying not to laugh. I didn't notice, earnestly saying. Netizens said, as long as it doesn't form a permanent mark, it won't affect our future. They also said it's common for city best friends to do this. It works well. I just hadn't thought of it these past 2 days. Weston's thin lips pressed together, opening and closing as if to speak, then hesitating. After a pause, he asked hoarsely, "You're doing this voluntarily? It's still possible to get up and put your clothes back on." I slid under the covers, taking the initiative. Completely voluntary. When Weston leaned over me, I heard a soft sigh. In the next life, I'll still do this for these kind strangers online. But, EA cooperation wasn't as smooth as imagined. Over 10 minutes, I curled my toes, my back sweating. Weston gently kissed my glands, voice impossibly soft. "Relax. You can't even take 3 fingers. What will you do later?" Through the night, lime-scented pheromones collided inside me, blending with honey, inseparable. Weston never worked out, yet his stamina was astonishing. Only at dawn did the heat and waves of scent gradually recede. 18. Thanks to my selfless efforts. 10 days later, Weston finally got through the grueling sensitivity period. He held me, dripping with sweat, in the bathtub, twirling my left hand between his fingers. "Thank you." I was like a noodle, soft and clinging to him, muttering with eyes closed. "When I reach sensitivity next time, you have to let me rest too." A faint laugh whispered in my ear. "Sure." Back at the dorm, Jace and Atlas seemed to have just finished their own battle. The air was thick with pheromones. I opened the window for some fresh air. Jace suddenly sidled up, grinning. "You slept with Weston?" I blinked. "How did you figure that out?" Jace rolled his eyes. "Your glands are wrecked, and you smell like lime infused all over. Even a beta could tell." I flushed, embarrassed, grabbing clothes. I dashed into the bathroom and showered again. 19. After that day, Weston continued his routine, bringing me breakfast, picking out cilantro, handing me towels and water during basketball, inviting me to watch movies at night. But I couldn't stay as calm as before. Even a touch on the hand or shoulder, or close breathing, sent my heart racing. The most suspicious moment, seeing a fragrant Omega confess to Weston. I felt inexplicably irritated. I kicked over a food bowl at the academy gate in frustration. "What's wrong? Who upset you?" Weston had just turned down the suitor and came over. I suddenly reached up, pressing down the smile on his lips. He raised an eyebrow. I scowled. "You're smiling too much." Weston froze briefly, then smiled even wider, melting my irritation instantly. For a moment, the world lost all color. My neck glands swelled. "From now on, only smile for me. Let's go eat." Weston grabbed my hand, cheerful, and we headed to an off-campus restaurant. "Where's your A?" I casually asked, picking at salmon sashimi. "You're always with me. I haven't seen you alone with anyone else." Weston peeled shrimp into my bowl, calmly. "Got him. Though he's a bit slow, hasn't realized it yet." Maybe it was the hot pot steam, but I felt uneasy. "What will you do? Confess?" "No, Valentine's Day. I'll propose directly." Valentine's, only 3 days away. Chewing the crustaceans, I barely tasted them. 20. That night, I didn't return to the single dorm with Weston. Across the room, Jace and Atlas were still entangled. Annoyed, I yanked the blanket over my head. I grabbed my phone and texted Carter. "Awake? So here's the thing. I have a friend." To help his best friend through sensitivity, they spent 10 days. Now his best friend is proposing to someone else. He's really upset. "What's going on?" "Carter, that intense? Is he big? Skilled? How's your friends? Back? How many times a night? Pleasure level? Any permanent marks?" "You talk too much. Don't guess." Said it's only my friend. Carter, "Oh okay, got it. Seems like jealousy, huh?" Carter went on, rambling nonsensically about best friends and closeness. I frowned. Even if Atlas lied, Weston wouldn't. I typed firmly. "Forget it. My friends are just best friends. No way this becomes romantic." Carter, right, best friends are like spouses." "No wait, best friends can only be friends. If they become spouses, you can't meet their eyes openly anymore, can't game together at night, only get tangled in love and desire, reaching extreme pleasure. That's why best friends are spouses." "Wait, no, only friends." Carter had gone mad. 21. Over the past 2 days, I racked my brain, trying to figure out how to keep the friendship between the 3 of us from feeling crowded. No luck. Frustrated, Weston sent me a message. "Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Four Seasons Hotel, room 999. I'll be waiting." Me, do I really have to go? Just thinking about my best friend no longer being solely mine made me feel a pang of loss. Weston, unusually firm, "Yes, you have to come." Me, "Fine." On Valentine's Day, just as I stepped outside, Jet, who had been pursuing me relentlessly, blocked the alley. He held a bouquet of roses with a credit card on top, eyes shining with excitement. "Lincoln, I really like you. I'm an Omega, but if you're with me, I'll work hard to take care of you. If you want, I'll even give you everything I can. I had rejected this persistent Omega at least 30 times over the past 2 years. His endless insistence annoyed me. I really don't feel the same. Please, just let me be. I pushed the roses aside, ready to leave. Suddenly, a strong, overwhelming scent hit me. Pheromones? Are you crazy? I clutched my throbbing glands, heat rising in my abdomen. Jet yanked open his collar, revealing his neck, and lunged at me. Lincoln, I really love you. Please mark me. I just want to be yours. Madness. I grabbed his hand, shoved him and the roses into the trash, gritting my teeth. Durian pheromones are seriously awful. Even if you were persistent, I couldn't go through with it. Please, pick another alpha, okay? While my mind was still somewhat clear, I called an ambulance. Then, supporting my burning body, I rushed to the hotel. 22. The door opened, and I leaned, collapsing into Weston's arms. So hot. You're aroused. My head felt heavy and dizzy. I didn't want to speak, just pressed against him. Weston wore a protective patch, and the lime scent was faint. Unsatisfied, I pulled him down onto the bed, pouting as I adjusted his belt. Weston stayed calm, letting me take the lead. It felt like 1,000 ants crawling inside me, itchy and uncomfortable, making tears spill unbidden. Don't cry. Here. Weston suddenly rose, brushing my tears with gentle fingertips, then pressed me beneath him. After removing the protective patch, he helped us both out of our clothes. The clean, refreshing lime scent finally overpowered the lingering durian odor. I inhaled greedily, every cell in my body craving more. As Weston prepared to continue, I grabbed him. My rational mind was almost gone, yet I remembered my earlier promise. I said I'd be on top this time. Weston's brows lifted, a slow smile curling. Fine. I flipped back on top. Before I could start, Weston pressed against me with firm insistence. A flash of intensity passed before my eyes. Weston held my gaze, steady, and continued. You're on top. I'm in control. 23. My first real arousal hit fiercely. Except for meals, most of my time was spent adjusting to it. After 5 days, I finally regained some clarity. Looking at the mess around us, I felt guilty. Sorry, I ruined your proposal. Weston leaned back on the sofa, satisfied. It's fine. There's still time. I picked up the scattered clothes, intending to leave. But Weston opened a plush box, eyes full of emotion. Marry me. Shock, disbelief, and secret joy all at once. You like me? Weston sighed, smiling wryly. You're such a fool. Jace and Atlas already noticed. You're the only one treating me as just a brother. I pinched myself. It hurt. This wasn't a dream. So, will you marry me? Weston's soft, peach-colored eyes looked at me tenderly. My heart leapt wildly, and I realized Carter had been right. I had already fallen for Weston without knowing it. Blushing, I nodded. The platinum ring slid onto my left ring finger. Perfect fit. I finally asked, when did you start planning this? Weston pushed me onto the sofa, kissing my temple. My first time. I replied smoothly, mine too. His lips nipped playfully, then continued the teasing battle. This time, he was especially determined, tracking my reactions carefully. Have you been with anyone else here? Confused, I panted. What do you mean? Weston pressed firmly. That Omega you once helped, you didn't, right? I finally realized, laughing, and kissed his face. Jealous, huh? That day I was just eating, you were on a video call, I had yogurt in my mouth. Weston relaxed. I teased, so even you make mistakes sometimes. Weston chuckled shortly, and for some reason, that laugh unsettled me. From the sofa to the bathroom, then to the mirror. We moved through playful, lingering moments. After finishing one scent, he opened another. My legs were weak, trying to escape, but Weston held me back. Making mistakes is fine. Just make it right with me. The long night passed, lime and honey pheromones intertwining, surging over and over. They said alphas are hard to mark, but Weston pushed boundaries, making it undeniably ours. Lincoln, you're mine now.